This is section 5.1, simple and compound interest. I'm going to recommend that you print these blank notes ahead of time because I will be swapping between the note area and the calculator. So it'll be helpful to have a place to write stuff down. All right, so let's look at simple and compound interest. Chapter 5 is about finance. So simple interest, the formula for simple interest is I equals P R T. So you may want to make some notes about this. The I represents the interest that is being earned. P is the principal. That could be the amount that's being invested, or it can be a loan amount. That is P. R would be the interest rate. They give you the rate as a percentage. To compute simple interest, you do need to convert that to a decimal, and we will do that. And T is going to be time, and that's always going to be in years. So we will have to make some adjustments depending on the type of problem that we're giving. So let's look at this first one. We have $5,000 at 2% for 9 months. So we need to find the interest. So the principal is the 5,000. And I'm going to do a little scratch work on the side. So 2%, if you don't remember how to do this, you either take the 2, divide it by 100, or you move the decimal 2 places to the left. So 2% is 0.02. And the time is 9 months. It has to be in years. So it's 9 over 12. This does this occasionally, so let's just give it a second. So we can actually put that straight in our calculator. This is a TI-84 CE plus. Any TI-84 is going to work the same. All right, so we have the 5,000. And as I hit the buttons, they will appear red on the emulator that you see on the screen. Multiplied by the 0.02, multiplied by, now I can show you how to put a fraction in. If you hit the math button and you just arrow to the left where it says fraction, it's the first one. You just hit enter and it gives you the fraction bar. So it's 9 out of the 12 months. So that's going to be $75. When we're dealing with money, they're going to ask you to round to the nearest cent. It's going to be 2 decimal places. Find the simple interest on the following loan, assuming there are 365 days in a year. So the loan is the 35,600, so that is our P. All right, and our interest rate, and I'll do a little scratch work, 6.25%. Again, you can divide it by 100 or move the decimal 2 places to the right. And it's for 103 days. So it's 103 of the 365 days. That gives it the fractional part or the percentage of the year. Again, time has to be in years. So that's why we're setting it up like this. So let's go over to the calculator, put this in. You get our fraction bar, you hit the math button, go to fraction and hit enter. So $627.88. So let's look at our next one. This one says compound. So we're looking for compound interest. If you go through the view the example, I like to change my colors frequently, so we're just gonna have to get over that. They're gonna give you a formula. The calculator, the 84s, will do this for you. Your smaller calculators will not. All right, so we have $10,000. So the amount that's being invested, that's going to be our present value is going to be the $10,000, and I'm going to make it negative. I'll explain that. 2, 3. The rate, which is going to be our I, is going to be 8. Monthly, I'll show you where this goes. Monthly means 12 times a year, so PCY is going to be 12. And the number of years is going to be 22. Right, so we're going to be on the calculator. I would suggest that maybe you take a moment to write these steps down. So you're going to hit the apps button. Again, my buttons will turn red. And you're going to hit finance. It's going to be the first one. It's the only thing we use in here. And it's going to be the first one, the TVM solver. All right, I've done stuff in here, which is fine. Oh, the last pieces of data that you've put in will remain in there. So N is the number of years times how many times a year it's being compounded. So 22 years, and it's monthly, so it's 12 times a year. When I hit enter and move it down, it's going to do the multiplication for me. Your rate is 8%. What's nice about this is you do not have to convert it to a decimal. The present value, that would be the principal or the loan amount or the amount that you're investing. And you're going to use negative. Negative's right below the 3. And it was $10,000. The reason we use negative is because it's coming out of our pocket. We don't have any type of payment here, so we're just going to put 0 in. They want to find the compound amount and the amount of interest earned. So the compound amount is the FV, which is the future value. And then PCY, these are going to be the same for us. They're never going to be different as far as our applications go. That's period payments per year and compounds per year. So it's being compounded monthly. And at the very bottom here, where it says payment, it's going to be, you need to put it on end, and we're never going to change that. So we're looking for the future value. So if I invest $10,000 for 22 years, it's compounded monthly at 8% annual interest rate. How much will I have at the end of the 22 years? Okay, so once you get everything in, you're going to hit alpha and then enter, because if you look right above the enter, I use alpha, which is green, and it says solve. So that's how much we're going to have at the end of the 22 years. Let me write this down. And it's 2 decimal places we're going to round to because we're dealing with money. So the amount that you have is 5,778.88. Let's go down to our next one. Find the interest rate. So this time they want the rate for a $5,000 deposit accumulating to $5,458. So the amount that we deposit or invest is the present value. The future value is what we're going to have at the end. All right, so time is 4 years, and it's compounded annually. So PCY annually is once a year. What we're looking for is I. That's what we're going to be looking for. Let's flip back over to the calculator. If you need to get out of this mode, this finance solver, you would just hit second mode. It would take you out of it. So I'm going to hit apps, finance, TVM solver. And again, it keeps the same information that we had before. So 4 years, and it's compounded once a year. The rate, I don't know, so I'm just going to put 0 in. The amount that we're investing is a negative. The negative is below the 3, 5,000. We're not making any payments. In the future, we have $5,458, and it's being compounded once a year. What I'm looking for is the rate. So I'm going to put my cursor up on the rate, or the I, and then I'm going to hit alpha, enter. I'm going to arrow down. And I don't know how many decimal places, so let's do 2 decimal places. So 2.22. Underneath the question in blue, it tells you what to round to. Okay. If you're unsure, you can look at view the example at the bottom of the screen and go all the way down, and that will help you. But you should be able to know what 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places are, and so forth. All right, find the compound amount and the amount of interest earned by the following deposit. And actually, let's go back up because I missed part of a question. Right. Wow. So this is the compounded amount, and I also want you to find the amount of interest earned. So the original amount, and again, I'm just backtracking, was $10,000, and after 22 years, I had $57,000. So let's go back here. Second quit. And then I subtract the original amount I put in. 1, 2, 3. I count my zeros. So that's how much interest they earn after 22 years. 2, 3. This one just wanted the rate. All right, so this wants the amount of interest and the compound amount. So that's similar to the one I just backtracked on. Earned by the following deposit. So we're putting this much money in, so that's our present value. I need to make it negative. That's our rate. And again, since we're using the finance solver, we do not have to convert that. And it's going to be 4 years. So our time is going to be 4 years. This one is a little bit different because it's being compounded continuously. With this continuously, we're going to have to use a different formula. So here's a good place to make a note. So future value is going to be present value, E, and the exponent is the R and the T. So compound tells me I should use the finance solver, but the problem is it's continuously. It's not monthly, yearly, quarterly. So we need to find the future value, the present value, and since we're putting it in this formula, we don't have to make it negative. It's going to be 6,200. E, our rate is 4.1%. So it's a decimal, it's 0.041, and this is in the exponent. And that's time, again, is going to be years. So that is going to be 4 years. Let's flip back over to the calculator. All right, we're on our main screen. So 6,200. E is going to be on the left side. You're going to hit second. and then the LN, you see the E right above it. That's a special number. It's kind of like pi. It's a non-repeating, non-terminating decimal. And I'm going to multiply by 4. So that's all up in the exponent. And then I'm just going to hit enter. And again, I'm dealing with money. So I'm going to go to 2 decimal places. So that's going to round to 0.93 at the end there. So that's the total we have in the account after 4 years. So that's the compound amount. So the interest is going to be the 7304, excuse me, 0.93 minus the 6,200 that we originally invested. You can put this in your calculator. 3. So this is the interest that's earned, the $1,104.93. Right, and then the last two. All right, so these, we can use the finance solver for both of these because we don't see continuously. Find the present value of the given future value. Okay, so they're giving you the future value. So you need to read the questions. It's your rate. It's compounded annually, so PCY is going to be 1. Let's flip over to our calculator. Let's go to our finance solver. All right, so it's compounded for 5 years, once a year. Our rate is 6.7. Present value is what we're looking for, so we're going to put a 0. And the future, we want to have $12,896.79. And then PCY is 1. I'm looking for the present value, so I'm going to put my cursor back up there. Hit alpha, enter. And when you put your answer in my math lab, just disregard the negative. And make sure you round to 2 decimal places. Our last one, it said find the present value of the given future amount. So this is the future value. That's our rate. That's our time. Compounded quarterly. How many quarters are in a dollar? 4. So quarterly is going to be 4 times a year. Let's go back to the calculator again. Start at the top. So it's 3 years times 4 times a year. The rate is 5. Present value is what we're looking for. If you don't put it to 0 and you go to solve it, it'll give you the correct answer. I just like to set things to 0. Future value, in the future, we want $9,400. And PCY is 4 because it's compounded quarterly. We're looking for the present value. So I'll put my cursor up there and hit alpha, enter. So $8,098.18. So I'm going to show you something here. One of these two numbers has to be negative. Alpha, enter. So I'm still getting the same answer. Just one of them is going to be negative, one's going to be positive. The only time this is really important is when we're solving for the interest rate. We had a problem like that. One of them has to be negative. If not, you're going to get, I don't remember if you either get an error or it gives you the wrong answer. I think you get an error if I remember correctly. Actually, let's go ahead and try that. Let's say we're solving for this. This is just, yeah, it'll give you an error. Okay. So if you forget to change the signs when you're looking for the interest rate, it will give you an error. So this is the end of section 5.1.